Hi, my name is Andrew. I am from a small town in Utah called Payson. I grew up there pretty much all of my life. Grew up in a very Mormon family. I'm number 6 of 7 children. So the church was kind of a way of life for my family, and for most of my family it still is. I realized that I was gay when I was about 11, almost 12. It's kind of funny. I was given a For Strength of Youth pamphlet a couple months before my 12th birthday, and I read the section on sexual purity one night, and it talked about homosexuality. And that night, as I was laying in bed, I can remember freaking out and thinking, oh God, this is it's talking about me. I have these feelings, what am I gonna do? And so I remember going downstairs and talking to my mom about it, and I think in her really kind way, she kind of redirected me and told me, oh, any feelings that you're having, they're just because you want to be friends with boys. You just want to develop friendships. And I think she sincerely thought that, and she doesn't even remember that conversation when I came out much later in a more serious manner. She didn't even remember that conversation. But that really impacted me, and for the next 9, 10 years, that was kind of my focus. Was anytime that I was attracted to another boy, I just immediately thought, oh, I want to be his friend, and that's kind of what I tried to do. But in high school, that didn't work out very well for me. I kept having these crushes and boys that I really liked, and I tried to get close to them and be their friend, but the type of friendship I wanted, even on an emotional level and not on a physical level, they would not reciprocate. So I just felt really alone and really scared for a lot of my high school experience. And it kind of took me to a low point in my life because I felt like I wasn't good enough, not only for myself and for my friends and my peers around me, or my family. And so it led me to, when I was 17, to attempt to commit suicide. And that was a really low point in my life. That was towards the end of my senior year in high school, and then I went to BYU for a year after that. And it was just a really low point in my life, but I was still really focused on the church and being a good member of the church. And so I prepared and I went and served a mission. And that was a great experience for me. It kind of helped me get out of Utah and explore the world, to see what it was really like. I went to Africa for about 6 months into my mission. I ended up getting sick while I was over there, and I'd randomly pass out and things like that. So they sent me to what's called the Referral Center mission. It was an online mission. I was set apart as a full-time missionary. I wasn't just a service missionary, and I lived in the Provo MTC and taught people through the Mormon.org chat. So that was my mission, and it was a great experience because in the referral center, I talked to so many people that came from every walk of life, and I got to actually talk and interact with people that were gay, and even other members of the church that were gay. That was kind of my first exposure to anyone that was a homosexual in a normal manner, so to speak. Before that, in high school, the only other gay person I knew was a boy in high school. He was the only one that was out, and he was a great guy, but very opposite of how I saw myself. He was very flamboyant, and so I just didn't see myself in that light. And so even in high school, when the thought crossed my mind again that I might be gay, I kind of pushed it aside and told myself, well, maybe you're bisexual, but it doesn't really matter, because you're obviously not like any of the gay portrayals that you're seeing, like the boy in high school. Or in 2008, when I was a senior in high school, a lot of stuff was going on with Prop 8 in California, and so the things portrayed in the media weren't all that positive either. And so it was just really hard for me to associate myself in that aspect. And it wasn't until my mission that I was able to realize there are people just like me, some that grew up members of the church and that were gay, or just like people out there in the world that are very, very normal. And that was the first time that I really let myself think, since I was 11, that I could be gay. But at that point in time, I had met a girl at the beginning of my mission, and we had become really good friends while we were in the MTC, and we were writing back and forth regularly, and kind of talking to each other. And we were just really good friends, and I thought I liked her, and I was kind of under the mindset that, oh, okay, when we both get home, we'll start dating and get married. We'll just continue on the path in the church. So I got home, and then she got home like about a month after me, and we went on several dates, and I thought it was going great, but obviously there was no chemistry between us, and so she was like, okay, I think we should just be friends. And that was the first time that I had to think about trying to seriously date girls. I didn't really date girls that much in high school. I went on a few dates, but it was mostly like the dances, so it was like group things with my friends. But I couldn't fathom just going up to some random girl that I didn't know and asking her to go out with me. I had no desire to do that. And I tried to go out with a couple of other girls that I was friends with, but it just didn't go anywhere. And so that was the first point that I was like, okay, I should try and date boys. And so I did. I got an app called Jacked at the time and started talking to some guys, met just some really good friends, and went on a few dates. And it was nice. It was nice to kind of let myself be who I really was, like nothing held back. And that progressed, and eventually I started dating a guy, and I was feeling pretty good overall about my life, but I was still conflicted going back and forth because I wanted the church to be part of my life, and it was just really kind of a conflict. I'd always planned to kind of try and stay in the church. Like, even if I ended up getting married to a guy, I would try to keep the church part of my life and go to church every week type thing. But there came a point I had ended my first relationship. It ended kind of on a bad note, and my first relationship with a guy. And so I met this other guy who was part of a group called North Star, and so I kind of got involved in that group. It was a positive thing for me at the time. It was great to kind of meet a lot of people that were in the same situation that I was in, that wanted to stay a part of the church, and I participated in that. But over time, I could see more and more of the members, at least the members that I knew, who were very self-deprecating. They would beat themselves up over finding a guy that they passed on the street attractive. And I didn't want to feel like that, because I was kind of going back to the same types of feelings I'd had when I was in high school, when I had attempted suicide. And I kind of reached an all-time low again, and it was just kind of a struggle. And as part of that, like right before I had gotten involved in North Star, and it's been a couple months after I broke up with my boyfriend at the time, and I was just feeling really alone and wanting to reach out to someone, kind of looking to maybe start another relationship, date, but I was trying to avoid like the dating apps and things like that, but it was really hard to try and meet other gay people while going to BYU, because I was a BYU student this whole time. So one night I got on Craigslist and started talking with this guy, and he invited me over to watch a movie. And so I did that, and long story short, I'll spare any details, but I ended up being drugged, and that was really a bad moment for me. So that's kind of what sparked my interest in North Star and trying to get back to the church. And I started dating girls again while I was part of North Star. But a few months after I was doing that, there was a girl that I had dated for several months, and I could tell that she wanted to kind of talk about like long-term, like future plans and possibly marriage. And I realized when she was trying to like hint at that it would never, it would never work. I just didn't have any serious attraction to her, and I didn't feel like it was fair to her. So I told her that and kind of broke things off. And I hadn't realized how attached she had got to me, and so I really hurt her. And it was that point that I decided that dating girls would just not be an option for me. And so over the next summer, I just really became comfortable with myself. I got some really awesome people around me that supported me and helped me to really become stabilized in my life. And it's been a lot better over the last couple of years. I came out publicly to pretty much everyone in October of 2013 and have been really comfortable with myself since then. And it's been awesome to see my growth. And I was still planning to keep the church a part of my life up until when they came out and announced that you would like immediately be excommunicated after getting married and things like that. And I realized that they weren't creating a place for me, and so I decided at that moment to not necessarily cut my ties with the church, because my family is still really involved in the church, but to kind of just go my separate way. I realized I didn't really need the church anymore for my spiritual growth and for my relationship with God that I have. And so I did that. I graduated from BYU in December of 2015, and it's been a really great experience to kind of now just be on my own and realize that I'm okay for I am who I am, and I've accepted that, and I love myself, and I'm not going to let anyone drag me down. And I wish I could have realized that, or I wish I could go back and help myself realize that when I was first coming out. I think I would have saved myself a lot of heartache and pain, but maybe that heartache and pain was necessary for me to become okay with who I am. And I think it's really important to realize that we all have a place in this life, and who we are shouldn't be defined by those around us. We should allow ourselves to be who we truly are. And I think those around us and those who love us should accept that, should celebrate who we are. Even if we disagree about what might be right or wrong, I think we should still celebrate one another. And that's kind of what I'm trying to do now in my life, is just seek to change the world and make it a better place, because I think I have that influence, and I think with my experience that I can help a lot of people. And that's one reason that I wanted to share at least a part of my story, to help people realize that I'm a real person. And yes, I'm gay. I'm very gay. But and there's nothing wrong with that. And I'm really happy right now, and I'm happy not being part of the church. I'm happy just being me, and I think that I can help a lot of other people reach that point in their lives as well.